Hey there everybody, I'm Trudy, One Grounded Angel. This is the angel card reading video for the week starting Monday the 2nd of March through to the 8th of March 2020, the last full week of Mercury retrograde. Hallelujah! Hopefully it hasn't been too bad for you. It's been in the sign of Pisces, which is a very watery sign, so if you've been feeling a little bit foggy, that could be part of why. I know for me, my dreams have been like out there and Pisces is the sign of dreams. So let's start with Monday, emotional healing we have here. What a big start to the week. Speaking of emotions, Pisces being a very emotional sign. So I'll read this message to you actually. It's safe for you to let go of old emotional pain. By doing so, you allow your heart to mend. This is the challenging part, in my opinion, about spirituality. You have to go through the tricky stuff. We live in a society that wants to give you permission to just stuff things under the rug or sweep it under the carpet, I should say, to use the cliche. And if you are feeling uncomfortable or emotional, definitely don't talk about that. Oh no, we can't do that. Maybe just have a drink and forget about it. Definitely have a wine, that'll make everything better. So that's kind of the prevailing attitude in our Western society, and as we know, that just makes things worse. Avoiding things makes them bigger, and it makes it harder, because it becomes a sustained pattern, harder for us to turn, to take a different approach and transform. This card is telling you to go through the difficult emotions, to actually face up to what you're feeling, and one of the most effective ways I personally have found to do that is to journal. Now, please don't think you have to be a good writer to journal. It's not about quality writing. It's just about getting everything out of here and out on the page. You get a bit more clarity when you do that. You can put things more into perspective and you just feel lighter. Honestly, 10 minutes a day, it's all you need. It helps a lot. There are tons of other ways. Obviously, meditation, I'm a big fan of. Going for a walk in nature. Really trying not to turn things over and over in your head, because that is when you start to get into a bit of a negative thought spiral, and that's when things really just pile on, and that's not helpful. So if you are feeling really emotional today, try to just look at how you're feeling and give yourself permission to feel it. First of all, as I mentioned, that's something that is sort of, it's going against the grain even to do that. But second of all, to actually try and think about, why do I feel this way? Sometimes there's no reason, sometimes it's hormones, but sometimes it might be because you're trying to put up with a situation that's actually not appropriate. If you are uncomfortable with the way someone treats you, but everybody else thinks you're being silly, you need to trust your feelings and go, this is not okay, I'm not okay with this, and I need to get myself out of this situation. Sweeping generalization there, but I think when it comes to emotions, I would be here all day if I talked about all the different situations where emotions come up. Tuesday, mother. Oh boy, this is a big one. So lots of different ways this can show up. One of them may be about your mothering. If you're a mum and you're struggling a bit with your kids at the moment, this card is often reassurance to let you know you're doing a great job. One of the hardest gigs out there, you're doing a great job. Mums are saddled often, from what I can tell, saddled with so much guilt and inadequacies and feeling that they're failing. You're not failing, you're doing a really hard job and you're doing it really well. The fact that you are trying so hard shows how well you're doing, because it's when we don't try to do something well at all that we, when we're too complacent, I think that we can, that's when you're not caring enough. And mums are hugely compassionate. That's kind of why you're drawn to this role in the first place. So the other way that this shows up is about your relationship with your own mum. Now, even if your mum has passed, there will be stuff in your past around the way you were raised with your mother, and our relationships with our mothers and fathers, even if they're absent, is hugely instructional for how we go on to form relationships as adults. We recreate the wound from childhood, the ways that we didn't get our needs met. It's huge. So if you're struggling with another person at the moment, you might like to think, does this person remind me of my mother in some ways? Am I trying to mother them because I'm worried about losing them? That's another one. Codependency can show up. A lot of us have mums with codependency issues. Another way might be if you are, I'm getting a message that some of you have toxic mums. I actually have quite a few clients who fall into this situation. and maybe you need permission to know that it's okay for you to cut that cord and to move away from that relationship. I know that's not an easy thing to do in a society which glorifies the roles of mothers and makes you think that you have to, because they're your mum, you have to put up with anything. You don't. If you've got a toxic mother, move away, set boundaries and stick to your guns. You're not a bad person for doing that. You are taking care of yourself. You need to meet your own needs, and if those needs were not met when you were a child and you're still looking to your mother to provide them, a sense of making you feel like you are worthy, a sense of making you feel like you matter, that you are loved, you're still looking for that, you didn't get it, maybe it's time to really think about, maybe I need to find ways to feel self-worth, love within myself, and not keep going to McDonald's and trying to order a pizza, to use a weird analogy. Changing your direction and really working to heal that wound. And as an energy healer, I would definitely recommend you have some energy healing around that, because it's huge. And as I mentioned, it will manifest in your adult relationships. If you're really criticized by your mother, there's a good chance that you are very critical in your romantic relationship, or you're with someone who's very critical of you. And of course, that you're very critical of yourself for sure. That shame kind of pattern continues. On a different note, money. This is Wednesday's card. I always try and pronounce this. I don't know why I can't say it. Abundacia is the name of the goddess. Okay, the word abundance is in here. That's really all you need to know. It's about prosperity. And this cornucopia, this golden cornucopia is on here, and that's really significant because it's about the flow of money and understanding there's an abundance of it. Now, if you don't feel like you have enough, it's going to be kind of hard for you to understand this, but the important thing to remember is that the universe is the channel of your, or the source, I should say, of your money. The channels are your boss, your whatever, the government, whatever partner, however you get money. And so this is about understanding that the universe is abundant. There's no limit on what the universe can give you. So if you feel like there's not enough, it's the universe you need to talk to and figure out ways in which you might be blocking that. And one of the major ones is safety. I've talked about this before, I know. If we don't feel like there's enough out there because we grew up in a household where we were taught there's not enough money for you and we're always going to be struggling for money, you can take on board those beliefs, and then you're still subconsciously holding on to them in adulthood, and that really shapes the way it shapes your relationship with money. And it could lead you to hold on to jobs that are well paid but bore you to tears, for example, or that you are the sort of person who never spends money on anyone else because you're afraid of losing your money, and that makes you not particularly liked by your friends, because we know that we need to be willing to give and receive in order to have healthy relationships. So that's about money, looking at ways you can expand money, and it starts with talking to the universe and also examining any blocks you might put up to that. Thursday's card is appropriate. Believe and trust. One of the most beautiful images. I love this. It's so kind of fantasy-like, also quite Pisces appropriate. This was last Sunday's card, by the way, and it's all about kind of, the reason I said it ties into that last card is because it talks about safety. If we don't believe there's enough out there for us, we don't feel secure, and that can show up in financial security, our decisions around that, or it can show up in our emotional security. We can, if we don't feel secure, if we feel insecure, if I put it that way, we are going to look for partners that make us feel like we matter. And unfortunately, you're most likely going to attract people who don't think you matter and treat you as such, or who are not able to meet your needs, and you'll never feel satisfied. So there's, again, another generalization, but I have to kind of use these to help demonstrate what I'm saying. The card believe and trust, it really asks you to believe that you're going to be okay, because if you don't believe that, you're going to make decisions that are not right for you. You're going to struggle to hear your intuition, and you're going to struggle to take the risks that you might need to take, such as moving to a new job where you have to learn new things and put up with not being that good at it straight away, and which can be hard for your ego and feel unfamiliar, which is provoking when you're so, if you've got safety issues, that can be tough. So believing that better things are ahead is also the major kind of essence of this card. The message here yeah, and being able to trust is huge with that. Well, it's huge with actually almost everything we do. If you've worked with me before, you'll know this. One of the major affirmations I'm giving people in the healing is trusting the universe, because if we've had a lot of things go, I don't want to say wrong because that's a controversial word, but and I believe that even things that are wrong are probably right for us. If we've had a lot of things that have not gone our way or that have been particularly challenging, it would be easy to conclude that the universe is working against us, and then it would be hard to trust that good things can happen. Upside down. Helpful. Vanessa is the angel on this card. If your name is Vanessa, happy days. It's about decisions, and when we make decisions, there's usually a battle between our head and our heart going on. The heart is the part that knows what's right for you. It knows, say we use a job analogy, say you've got 2 job offers. Your heart knows which one is going to satisfy you more. Your head knows which is going to give you the most prestige, which is going to look best on your resume or your LinkedIn, which is going to give you the most money, the most security. And so the reason people often struggle to make decisions is not because they don't know what to do. They do, the heart knows. It's because they are worried that all those logical reasons are maybe what they should be listening to. And I think we've all been in a situation where we've made a choice and overruled our intuition, overruled our heart, and then gone, yeah, that wasn't right. I've certainly taken a job. I hate it. And I knew I'd hate it. But it seemed like the best option on paper at the time. And boy, did I regret that. I left after 4 months. No regrets. I don't actually regret accepting it because it taught me a lesson that I need to listen to my intuition more. Anyway, the question to ask yourself if you're facing a decision is, if there was no risk of me being judged for this, if I didn't have to worry about what anyone else thought, what would I do? That's really probably what's going to give you the most insight into what's right for you. Because often what we do with decisions is we look for the thing that's going to offer the most guarantees. This seems like the most chance of me getting promoted. This one, I don't know what could happen. It's a startup. Anyway, so there are no guarantees anyway, and that's the whole thing with decision. We're taking a step into the unknown, and the part of us, the ego part of us that is afraid, wants the guarantees so that we can feel more secure in that decision, and that's just not how decision making works. It's not how life works. There are no guarantees, but your intuition always knows. Sorry, I've just realized that light's flickering behind me. It is the sun off the reflection office card. It is not any divine beings coming through. Sorry to disappoint you. There it is on the back wall. It's just me. Sorry. Or that can happen in that reading. So I often get messages from you. I don't watch my videos. I hate listening to my own voice. But I've had messages from many of you saying, oh, I saw some light beings come through, and I've watched back and gone, oh yeah. So it does happen. That wasn't it. Sorry. So if you're not facing a decision, this may be just a call for you to tune into what your intuition is telling you about. Am I on the right track? Am I still honouring what I set out to do? Or have I been sort of corralled into what the mainstream is doing? Or have I been, have I let procrastination is always fear in disguise, remember? Let procrastination or fear or some other limiting belief stop me from doing what I actually came here to do or set out to do at the start of this year or whenever it was. And how can I get back on track? It's the most important thing. Sometimes when we're in those situations, it's easy to look at, oh, well, the economy is bad, and oh, well, my kids are too young, or something like that. And there's always going to be limitations, and what you have to do is look at what one thing can I do? What is within my power to do? Start with that. The universe responds to action. So if you take steps in the right direction, even if they're small, that will inspire the universe to send more energy to help you. And that is how, one step at a time, you will move in the right direction. Saturday, 2 cards. Sensitivity. This is super appropriate for the emotional healing that we started the week with. It's basically asking you to honor how you feel. I think the message I would say with this card is please make smart decisions about where you go and who you spend time with. Because if you are feeling super sensitive, being around people who whinge and moan, that's not going to be good. Being around people who who gossip about other people, you're not going to like that. Watching reality TV shows where people sit around gossiping about other people, that's not healthy for you either at this point. Or ever, I would say, but you've got to make your own choices about that. Going to loud nightclubs where people are trying to escape their problems, maybe that's not the best place for you to be. You've got to make your own choices, but I am saying you're extra sensitive at the moment. This is probably a good time for some self-reflection and maybe being on your own. That's what I like to do when I'm feeling emotional. But I don't have children, so I do have a little more freedom to do that. So we need to be realistic as well. Clear sentience is the other card. So I may have spoken about the 4 clairs before. Clear as in C-L-A-I-R. They are the different ways that we hear our intuition. Hear is not a good choice of words there, but we can receive the messages of our intuition. Clear audience is about sound. So clairvoyancy, that's about sight. I'm not particularly strong in that one. Clear sentience is all about feelings. So you can already see the relationship here. And the last one is clear cognizance. That's about thoughts. So people are generally stronger in one overall and perhaps another couple of ones. So clear audience tends to be my strongest one. I tend to get my intuition through sounds that I hear in my head or out loud that are pointing me in the right direction. I also am fairly strong in clear cognizance of my thoughts as well. Clear sentience, you might be extra intuitive at the moment. So with those feelings that I talked about just here, maybe some of those feelings are actually intuitive messages that you need to make some changes. That's, of course, it is difficult when you're feeling really emotional. If you are struggling to identify your intuition, the best thing you can do is ask for a sign. I think I'm getting a message that I should take this particular job. If that's correct, can you please send me a sign to confirm that I have understood that message correctly? When I'm asking for a sign, I often will stick the proviso on a message I can easily understand, a sign I can easily recognize and understand. It's up to you how you word this. And when I say word, I mean it can be in your head, you don't have to actually say it. And then I just leave it open. And I would say that on days I'm working from home, that's not a very good time to be asking for signs because I'm in my little space. Like I need to be out in the world to be better recognizing signs, and I don't go looking for them because then I'll start to overthink, and that nothing good comes from that, does it? Sunday, a lighter note to end the week. Animals, so power animals. There's a lot of ways this can be speaking to you. It could be a pet that you love that has passed on, that is saying hello and letting you know they're okay. It could, which is always great to hear. It could be that you have a special connection with animals, and this is asking you to work with them more, whether that be voluntary, professionally, or just spending more time with them on a personal level with your pets, making time for them, other people's pets, walking other people's dog, I don't know, whatever. It's up to you. I've just noticed the animal here, which I always thought was a horse. I've just noticed it's actually a unicorn. Clearly, I've not looked at this card particularly closely over the years, but maybe I only needed to get that message now. Sorry, I'm just stretching out my legs. I can't sit cross-legged for very long. For some reason, I always try. The unicorn is a symbol of miracles, so that could be meaningful to some of you. I feel like I have to point that out. So there it is for those of you who need it. And it could also be if you feel like you have, maybe if you're a shaman or you've done some shamanic work, sorry about that, you're familiar with the ideas of animals. Shamanism is all about working with animals, amongst other things. And so perhaps that's what this is about, going deeper into your shaman work, maybe something that you've done as a, in shamanic, why can't I talk properly today? Shamanic healings, maybe this is a message for you to go deeper into that message and to think about that again. It could be that animal is conveying something to you, like if it symbolized courage or something, maybe that's a message you need right now. I'm babbling, I know. It's just this card is one of those ones that just has so many different meanings. If none of that resonates for you, it's probably about going outside into nature. We know nature is super healing. It clears our energy. It helps settle our thoughts. We're better for it. We're so much better for it. So maybe going outside today and being around nature is going to be really good for you. Okay, big week. Emotions, big this week. And I know when I talk about emotions, I can feel this within myself. I tend to go, oh, boy, this could be rough. It doesn't necessarily mean bad emotions though. It doesn't mean unpleasant emotions. We need to be able to experience all the emotions as well. So I realize saying bad or good is not particularly helpful because all emotions have merit, particularly the unpleasant ones, because they're actually telling us something we need to know. But we tend to be afraid of them. As I mentioned, socially, there's not really a lot of acceptance of them, but also they can be really rough. They can make you feel pretty crappy. So be gentle with yourself, and please remember, you're a human being. You're going to feel stuff. That's how it works. And if you're an empath, if you're watching me, you're probably an empath. You'll certainly feel that. And as I say, self-care, isolating yourself from places that provoke you. Okay, what else do I need to talk to you about? I think safety would be a big one this week. And I guess healing of past stuff with this mother message. Yeah, it's a bit of a mixed bag otherwise. I mean, I'm thinking, because we've got believe and trust and we've also got decision making, some of you might be confronting some big kind of changes at the moment, and maybe you need a bit of reassurance that things are going to be okay, and a bit of a reminder that you actually know what's right for you, and to back yourself, because you're the best authority on yourself, and you are qualified to make the right decisions, even though you don't know how things are going to work out. That's it for the week. Thank you very much for watching, and I will look forward to reading for you next week when there's no retrograde. Well, one day of it and a post shadow, but let's just overlook that because that's too hard. And I need to, when I put this up, I will check the moon cycle, because I have a feeling this sensitivity card has got Archangel Haniel on it, who is associated with the moon. And I'm wondering, because we've got the mother message very associated with moon or lunar movements and emotions. I'm wondering if there is a full moon this week. I can't remember. Maybe. Anyway, I'll find out when I launch this video. So you can find me on Instagram at OneGroundedAngel. My Facebook page is also called One Grounded Angel. If you'd like to book a personal angel card reading for me, or an energy healing session, or a series of them, you can do that no matter where you live in the world. You do not have to be in Australia. All my work is done over Skype and Zoom. Thank you, Internet. You are awesome. So you just contact me via my website, www.onegroundedangel.com. Onegroundedangel.com. Thanks, everybody, and have a great week.